It's not just philosophy, not just words. It's knowing how the mind functions, how the consciousness functions. Only then can you develop loving kindness. Only then can you become a spiritual person. Lama Thupten Yehe, Tibetan Buddhist teacher. The mechanics of consciousness, the mechanics of the heart field are most important in the journey, the great quest for wholeness. It is said scientifically that we have 3 brains, not just one brain in the head. And of the 3 brains, the brain in the head, the brain in the heart, and the gonadal brain, the most important and the most powerful of our brains is the brain in the heart. This can be understood in terms of the measurement of the amplitude of the brain. The amplitude of the brain in the head is measured in terms of brain waves. The amplitude of the brain in the heart is measured in terms of heart waves. When we measure the brain waves, we have to stick electrodes on your head because the amplitude of the power is so minimal. When we measure the amplitude of the heart waves, we need no such electrodes because the heart waves radiate 8 to 12 feet outward from the heart. The heart field, thus, is the most powerful focus within individuated consciousness. And yet, all teachers first teach you about the mind and the mind field. They first have to address the brain in the head before they can get to the primary brain, the brain in the heart. Brain in the heart is the most powerful and the most important, is the center, the focal point of our individuated consciousness. And yet, we have to begin with the brain in the head, the mind field. Why? Because the mind field from the brain in the head interferes with our access to the heart field, the brain in the heart. Until we can master the mind field and its interference, we can't get access to that which has the greatest amplitude of power within our experience, and that which is the center of our being, and that which is the gateway to the fullness of our wholeness. So great teachers will tell us the way is through the heart, but they will have to spend much of their time assisting us to master the mind and clear the mind that we might get to the heart. The mind field must be balanced. The mind field must be stilled of its illusory data. And when the mind field can be sustained in stillness, when there is stillness in duration, through the balance of the mind field, it yields to the heart field. Then and then only does the heart field come into our focus. And when we can balance the relative polarities of the heart field, just as we have learned to balance the relative polarities of the mind field, when we can sustain the heart field polarities in balance in duration, the gateway of the heart field, the gateway of our individuated consciousness and its connection to our universal consciousness, opens. The heart field is the center of our individuated consciousness in the physical, emotional, and mental dimensions, the denser dimensions of our experience. Universal consciousness is anchored in the subtlest of our dimensions. But we are multidimensional forms of consciousness. Within us is both individuated and universal. And the two must interact if we are ever to experience wholeness. Yet it is through the coherence, the balance of the heart field that we access the subtlest dimensions of ourselves and merge with the universal consciousness that delivers our wholeness. So, yes, we must understand the mechanics of consciousness, and we must apply those mechanics. Holistic lifestyle is about such application on a daily basis, balancing the physical level of our experience, balancing the mental level of our experience, sustaining such balance in duration. Consistency of balance allows us access to the heart field, wherein lies our greatest power.